So you now see how world history helps us to have thorough understanding of many of the events in the Bible. So in the course of this course, like I mentioned, we will not just be rambling around the history of the world and all that. We will just be taking the history of the world and the one that is related to the Bible. We will see how the events and that of the Bible correlate each other, and it's going to help us in our Bible study, in our biblical hermeneutics, and even presentation of sermon and all the rest. So you now see the reason why the Israelites became slaves in Egypt, and they were using them to mold bricks and all that. So it was a retaliation over what happened. Now, that was the political sequential order in Egypt. Then number 3, mental advancement. The natural environment, agricultural settlement, political advancement, and then number 4, mental advancement. Joseph, when he interpreted those dreams, he talked about storage of grain to last for about 7 years. So it was in the course of brainstorming on that eventually led to the building of pyramids. And the building of pyramids became one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. In fact, historically, that is the only wonder of the ancient world that survived till today. And scholars are of the opinion that because the idea of that one is from heaven, because that which is from heaven is above all. That which is from above is above all. And so, Egypt began to advance, began to develop, and they were able to have food when the rest of the world were starving. And they began to also develop their learning and studying. Schools were opened. They developed a system of writing called hieroglyphic writing, which they wrote with pictures, and also the building of pyramids, which energized them in the building of several other structures and houses. And that made them, they became a center of architectural masterpiece, building and all that. And then they came up with the first acceptable calendar, which we call the Egyptian calendar. And they also developed their medical prowess. They were so good in medicine. They were doing embalmment and doing so many other things. There was something I read somewhere, they were producing paint that can even last for thousands of years. So a lot of things were done by them. They were producing medicine for various ailments and all that. Now, Egypt is in Africa. And so we are not wrong if we say that Africa was the center of civilization, cradle of civilization. Of course, people have also argued that it's not enough to be the cradle and remain at the cradle. That Africa is supposed to have moved on with that foundation. We're supposed to have grown. Because there were other places like where you have Sudan now, Ethiopia, all these places were existing quite on time and were developing, doing those things. And it has not affected Africa much. There are many things about, when we get to modern history, we will see what happened that make Africa to now become, coming behind today. That we are now shouting Black Lives Matter in a world where black man was once in charge. So there are a lot of lessons we need to learn there. We're going to close this with the wonders of God. That God, because of his promise to a man, disrupted the entire system of the world to make sure that what he said came to pass. And so there is nothing God cannot do. And that's what we see all through history. From one generation to another generation to another generation, you will continue to see the hand of providence. Though the secular historians may not see that, they may call it chance. They may say it naturally happened. But to us, who are both Bible historians, we look at everything from that spectrum that whatever is beyond human calculation that just happened is not a chance. The hand of providence is there. God is involved. And so next class we are going to look at other centers of early civilization, which is India, China, and Crete, where you have Greece. So those were the areas that were developed quite on time. As at this time we were talking, there was nothing like Europe, talk less of America. We're dealing with ancient time. These were the people that did exploit, established, great empires, great nations. Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia are among the oldest nations that we have. In the Bible, you will not see Sudan. You will see something like Cush. So it's referring to the same place. So these are empires that have been. It is from Ethiopia, Queen of Sheba came. Queen of Sheba was a queen of Ethiopia. And then who traveled, when she had the wisdom of Solomon, traveled to go and see. Historically, Solomon got married to her and they produced a son, John. And that son became the pioneer of a dynasty in Ethiopia. And the people of that family in Ethiopia always go back to Israel to worship the God of the Jews because they were Jews too. They are Jews too. And that's the reason why you hear of Ethiopian eunuch in Acts of Apostles. He came all the way from Ethiopia to worship in Jerusalem just because of that. So, Emperor Celestia and all the rest are descendants of that family. So, as we progress in history, we're going to look at some of these things, and it's going to be a great blessing to us. Hands of providence is involved in the affairs of men. God created this world, as in is involved in it, is in charge. He made things happen, and he must not be removed from this world. In fact, he has not created a world that will exist without him. Anytime we remove him from the affairs of history, there will be chaos, there will be problem, just the same way you have presently now a virus is troubling the whole world. For us to know that somebody created this world and that person is in charge, he has the final say. Thank you very much. We meet the next class.